Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ review number 323. And I am the best moderator ever, Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the NoDQ review. Aaron Rift is here, Big G is here, Gino is here, JJ Williams is here, and this guy Experience is back. He's been on the review before. Gentlemen, what's going on? This guy, what's up?
Well, glad you guys had me back. Nothing much. Just ready to talk about some wrestling and ready to go.
All right, well, stay tuned because the first half of the show, we're going to be talking about the state of Monday Night Raw on Netflix since it's debuted. And the second half of the show, we're going to talk about the state of SmackDown on USA Network since it's been there and it's 3 hours for now. And boy, did Mr. Tito write an article about Road Dogg, who's going to be, I'm sure we'll talk about him, part of the creative team again on SmackDown. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that, NoDQ Galaxy. JJ, what's up?
What's going on, Virtue? Glad to be here. Not trying to steal anybody's shtick, but, good to be on the panel. Thank you guys for allowing me to crash the party and be the sixth man of the team tonight. Going to be an interesting conversation. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, I don't really want to go 90 minutes tonight, so if I do a timeout and move on from some of your conversations, I won't rudely interrupt you, but moderator, we got to keep the show flowing. Don't get upset at me. JJ, I'll be careful with you. I get it. I've cut you off too many times. Gino, what's going on?
Not too much. Honored to be here as always. Looking forward to these topics. I've actually kind of wanted to talk about these for a little while. We needed to give them some air to breathe first. So I'm looking forward to getting into our thoughts on Raw and SmackDown and the changes of the new year.
Stay tuned. All right, Big G. I mean, anything that's hot and over in wrestling, you are right on the bandwagon. You actually, maybe even before the bandwagon, on the cutting edge of the big movements in wrestling. And right now, Yeet, you probably had that Yeet shirt before Yeeting was cool. What's up? He's on a delay, people.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Watched the SNL 50th anniversary this past weekend. But other than that, I mean, hasn't been too much wrestling wise this week, but I think you came up with some good topics, Virtue. It'll be an interesting discussion for sure.
All right, stay tuned. And when you hear this, Big G, you don't have to comment. Aaron, over to you. What's up?
I'm doing well. I wanted to bring up the point system that I started at the beginning of the year since it relates to tonight's discussion. We'll be giving our thoughts on the state of WWE RAW and the state of Friday Night SmackDown since it has moved to 3 hours now. Beginning with the new year, I developed a point system for the shows. I give my points out of 10 for Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite. And I just wanted to throw out the average numbers from where we stand right now. We've had 7 weeks of television for each show, SmackDown, Raw, and Dynamite. So 1 out of 10 every week, every show. I give a number, I give my points. The average numbers so far after 7 weeks, this is what I have. So for WWE Raw, I have a 7.29. For SmackDown, I have a 5.57. And for Dynamite, I have a 5.71, slightly above SmackDown.
When did this start?
The beginning of the year.
Okay, wow.
First 7 weeks of the year.
We're still almost
7 weeks in.
Okay.
Yeah, Raw is the highest of the three. SmackDown and Dynamite, I feel like they've just been around average. Nothing too spectacular. So anyways, Virtue, let's go ahead and get into the discussion.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw first. Since it's been on Netflix, The Rock has not been back on Raw. Roman Reigns has not been back on Raw, other than a poster of him being on the video game. Was CM Punk on Raw last night?
No.
CM Punk was not on Raw last night. John Cena, and I know he's filming a movie, all these stars that were there, gone. And Seth Rollins is carrying your Monday Night Raw to have a match with Finn Balor to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. I think we have a problem here. And I know WrestleMania is a little bit later this year, like mid-April. And so they got an Elimination Chamber coming up in time. But like last year, we were already cooking with The Rock. People were mad that Rock and Roman was going to take over Cody's match. We had controversy. We knew things were going to change, but The Rock was involved. It was exciting. What the hell is going on with Monday Night Raw right now? I'm going to start with you, this guy. Since its debut on Netflix, 2.5 hours, I'm not saying Aaron's rated at 7.9. Maybe that first show got a 10. I don't know. I don't even give it that. I mean, none of the wrestling show. I'm not excited about any of them. Take all Aaron's scores and have them. That's where I'm at with all of them. This guy, state your case for Raw on Netflix since its debut.
Ouch. Well, my perspective is kind of unique because this is not me kissing Aaron's butt, but back in the early 2010s, I was just coming back into wrestling, and I found Aaron's channel, NoDQ, just randomly, so I started watching it, and then that got me back into wrestling, so I started watching it every week and stuff like that. And eventually, I lost cable access to cable, so I didn't watch Raw unless I was at work sometimes. So I would just keep up with Monday Night Raw through Aaron Riff's channel. And ever since it's premiered on Netflix, I've actually been able to see for myself what's going on. So I can't really, and I've seen the YouTube clips, obviously, like it was something really good that Aaron recommended. I would watch the YouTube clips. So for me, I would say they're like based on what I was watching previously before I lost access to cable in the good old days of Raw, Monday Night Raw. I would say it's pretty good. I don't think anything that bad, especially in the 2019s. The rare case I would go to like a sports bar or go to a friend's house that had cable and watch some of the episodes. I would say it's pretty good. I don't think it's that bad. As I said yesterday on Aaron's review of Monday Night Raw, my daughter actually likes Penta, so him being introduced into Monday Night Raw is I guess a good thing, even though it did spoil her bedtime by like 15-20 minutes. But yeah, so far I'm liking it so far. I just don't, some of the stuff I can't deal with, which is like the new ring mat. It's kind of like a NASCAR, except for it's gray and kind of depressing. And then my main gripe I will still have to this day is the music. Entrance music is trash for the most part, and the intro to the shows are trash. I mean, I like rap, but I don't like this new age rap, and it just throws everything off. The classic rock and roll to get you hyped for a wrestling event, I miss those good old days. And the same thing with the theme songs. Now, rap for a theme song is still cool. AJ Styles' theme song is one of my favorite. But yeah, other than the songs itself, pretty good.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Big G, I'm going to come over to you next. Now, wait, because you're going to be on a delay. Gunther is your world champion on Raw. And, you know, that's how they've done this for years now. We see him in one segment. Jey Uso is the challenger, comes out. Like, there is no threading throughout the show of your big featured match that you did all the business with Jey winning the Royal Rumble. Shame on WWE for not having your other big stars there. You're just giving, like, Gunther and Jey just, like, one set. Like, what the hell is going on? That's a huge, like, I can't believe Aaron gives Raw 7.9 when they're not even taking their main event that they do have right now and giving those guys more prominent focus, making Gunther look dominant, make Jey look like he really has to chase. You just you're showing once, you're done for the night. It's unacceptable. And they don't have to end Raw at 2.5 hours. It's great. But even if they did, they keep doing that, you can still get your main guys out there more, especially on a show that CM Punk isn't going to be at. No reason for Finn and Seth to have a 30-minute match on Raw. Absolutely no reason. Save those for the pay-per-views. Wrestling is overexposed on TV shows, and that's why people complain about the matches not being that great at pay-per-views sometimes, because you've seen everything already. Big G, that's one of my gripes about Raw. Now let's hear your good and bad for Raw on Netflix. 3, 2, 1. Wow, that's a long delay. Did he even hear anything I had? So you guys hear me on the right time, right? Big G, you might have to reboot. All right, he's rebooting. Gino, I'm going to pass it right over to you. What I just said, Raw, to me, you have CM Punk not there. Like, I mean, granted, he's still there, but not like last night. No Cena yet, no Roman. And you're not featuring Gunther and Jey even more on your TV to get these guys over as your Raw main event for WrestleMania. Gino?
You know, it's funny. That was something that I've kind of been keeping track of lately, is how strong is Gunther's booking, especially comparative to Cody after he lost to him towards the end of last year. I actually thought that last night, though, Gunther actually appeared to be top level wrestler, performer, however you want to say it. Him walking through the crowd, insulting all the crowd members, throwing the microphone at Pat McAfee. Like, I was like, thank you. This is what we wanted to see. But you're absolutely right. It was peppered in the middle of the show, and then they showed Jay a little bit more, but that's it. That's all we've got for the main, theoretically, the WrestleMania main event, the Royal Rumble winner, and he can't even, maybe he doesn't need, they have a main event match for Seth and, Finn, of course. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't need to go 30 minutes, especially when literally last week, they went off the air when stuff was still happening. I thought this wasn't going to be happening on Netflix. Why do I have to I knew Rey Mysterio was getting his butt kicked, but why do I have to tune in next week to see what happened at the end of the show when there's no timetable? You don't have to cut it off right there. Just let us see it. I thought that was a really interesting choice. I watch a lot sometimes on the replay or whatever it is, not live. I try to watch as much as I can live. Then I'll go back on Netflix. And there are some cool features when you watch the show not live. When they do this happened on SmackDown last week, or this happened at the Royal Rumble, Netflix's little thing comes up on my phone, skip recap. I can press that button and go right to the end of the little recap and then get right back into the story. That's awesome. I love that, especially as somebody who's not watching live. There are some unskippable ads and things like that, but they also cut out commercial breaks. So it is fun to be watching it on replay. I want to say that having Pat McAfee back on Raw, I think he's just awesome. I keep trying to hear for him not being a wrestling fan and just there for the paycheck, but no, every time he speaks, I'm constantly impressed by his knowledge of the industry, his knowledge of wrestling, his knowledge of the storylines, his knowledge of the moves, and he's just A+ for me. I do like the ring mat color change. I'm not noticing as much of the logos during the matches. I don't know if they bring in the hard camera down a little bit or what it is, but I thought I'd have more of a problem with that. I don't. All in all, though, it still kind of feels like like what we got on USA Network, right? Yeah, it's WWE producing it, so the expectations of all this grandiose change, may have been a little overblown. But that first night on Raw, they had the seats lighting up and all that stuff because they were in the arena. That kind of set some type of precedent that they are unable to pull off because the arenas around the country aren't set up like that. Also, it's down. It was like number 8 this week in the TV shows on Netflix. It's like at 2.8 million viewers, down 300K from last week, which was the Royal Rumble Fallout. The top show, for example, was 7.9 million.
There's no stars there, Gino. There's no stars.
What?
It's going to keep going down. No stars.
Exactly. How boring
and they're not building up
on either show.
They're not building up the other guys to feel more like stars.
And the one guy they are doing that with, Jay, they show him once or twice and then that's it. Or forget about him. 3-hour show. The biggest concern I have is it feels like they're still writing 2 hours worth of content. And they're like, how can we extend? What parts of the segment can we extend and make longer for no reason? That I would say was my biggest part of both shows, honestly. But as far as Raw goes specifically, some of the changes I like, some of the changes I don't like. Really hoping that, around this time of year, it's supposed to pick up. So we'll see if the storylines start to hit full gear. But I mean, like you said, it's kind of really hard to care about most of the stuff going on because it's just either cookie cutter or biding their time until they get to the big payoff shows and probably in Europe when they do the European tour before WrestleMania.
All right. Thank you, Gino. JJ, so I get it. They have time to fill before Elimination Chamber and then the Raws after that will lead up to WrestleMania. So I get you're not on every show, you're not going to have all of them. Okay. But Cena's out filming a movie. Rock's doing movies. Reigns is injured. Punk had the night off for whatever reason. You're not going to, you're just going to feature Seth Rollins qualifying for the Elimination Chamber in a match against Finn Balor, which we've seen before. And you're not going to make something interesting with Gunther and Jay to extend it. And there is no such thing as doing it too early. WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year, right? Make this a big deal. Throw something in there for us to talk about that we wouldn't expect to make it. But you know, I was questioning Jay winning the Royal Rumble, but now with this angle they're doing with Gunther, oh my God, it's great. I want to see it week to week. Remember the Bloodline? Week to week, we wanted to see what was going to happen next.
Yep.
Just find something like that. Like something. You have somebody there, apparently, that knew to do that with the Bloodline. Can't you do that with another storyline and wrestlers? Why does it have to be always because it was Roman Reigns involved? So JJ, I'm trying to think of something fun about Raw that I like. Like when CM Punk's there cutting promos, but I couldn't even say that last night. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be sitting here lying if I said that WWE right now doesn't have a problem with the hype machine. And some of that, I put that on three people right now: The Rock, Triple H, and John Cena. Triple H is the guy that's guiding the creative. He should be looking for ways to help push the guys when the stars aren't there. You guys made great points about Jey Uso. He's supposed to be the next big guy. He's supposed to be the next superstar. Yeet a mania and everything. And you had Gunther come through the stands, basically kill his entire shtick last night. The Rock, I think, gave us a whole false expectation. We all expected something to happen this year because of last year and the little Easter eggs that were threaded throughout the year, the bad blood thing at the very end. And then The Rock decided not going to do it and messed everything up for everybody. But the one I have the biggest problem with, and I know one of his biggest supporters is in the chat room, so he's going to be pissed at me for this, but I got the biggest issue right now with John Cena. I don't care that he's in Budapest filming a movie. I could give two Fs about that. Social media is such a prevalent thing. When we rewind the clock back 14 years and we look at the once in a twice in a lifetime with The Rock and John Cena, The Rock did so much stuff via satellite to help propel the storyline and the angle. John Cena sat there at the press conference, said, I'm going to give these guys a month to talk trash about me. I don't even think I've heard Michael Cole say John Cena's name in the month, the couple weeks since the Rumble. What are we doing here? Why is Cena not filming videos, posting to his social medias to hype this? And he expects us to care about the farewell tour that he's doing. Oh, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, that's got to be the main event of WrestleMania. That's best for business. I don't care. I don't care. Because he's not making me care. I get that you can't be there. But last year, The Rock was submitting videos via social media to help move the storylines. You telling me that John Cena doesn't have 5 minutes, whether it's lunchtime, whether it's in his makeup chair, whether it's in between takes, that he can't whip out his phone, put it on selfie mode, cut a promo, and send it to Triple H?
They could even have better equipment than that.
I'm just saying, it's bare minimal. It would look gritty. The Cena we saw at that scrum seemed heelish. So a gritty promo coming from him would fit right now. I told y'all you had a month to talk trash about me. Y'all ain't said nothing about me. Do you forget who I am? I'm the 16-time world champion.
Punk
I'm
kind of
coming
did.
for y'all.
Punk kind of did a little bit in one of his promos.
Barely.
Yeah.
The fact that you referenced it as kinda did says everything that you need to say about it.
And where's Paul Heyman? Like, he's a guy that could be there on both shows every week, even though Roman's still tied to SmackDown technically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Technically. But you could still have Paul stirring up stuff every now and again, too. Gone. I mean, what was the last time we saw him? Video game? cover release or
Yeah,
or an actual
27th of
Royal
January.
Rumble.
Yep.
And that's a guy would be there. I mean, what's he on the part-time contract now where he only shows up with Roman?
Yeah, and then we go through this chamber match in a couple of weeks, and Cena loses, hypothetically. Then what? Then what?
Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul, what show is he technically on? SmackDown
Raw.
or wherever?
Raw
He's
now.
Raw.
Was he
Right
on last
now-
night?
No.
No.
Oh no.
Not even,
Right
and
now,
he's got
I would-
podcasts. He didn't even film anything like you suggested. This is nuts.
Yeah. Like right now, I would rather see Logan Paul go to WrestleMania because at least he's been on my television more frequently.
Yeah.
I know it would get some
Yeah.
serious heat. Not much more. Maybe by one or two shows, but it's still more than Cena's been on my TV.
Yep.
Okay, well, is that your thoughts on the state of Raw right now? Okay. I'm going to pass it over to Aaron and Psycho Jet Black because they're a team. And take it away.
Big G did contact us privately. I guess he was having internet problems. So he was happy to be here. I don't know if he'll be back or not. If he does return, we'll get him on and let him share his thoughts. But Big G, thank you for stopping by. If we don't see you again, we appreciate you. We love you, Big G. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw. When Raw started on Netflix, I thought the first couple of shows were really strong. I gave those high ratings, and then the last couple of weeks, those numbers have been down. I think there's a couple of problems. The first problem is that 1 year ago, we had The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. They were all in the thick of it, and the television shows were very exciting to watch because of that. Right now, as we've talked about, we have a lack of star power on Monday Night Raw with John Cena not being around. CM Punk wasn't on this week. No Logan Paul, no Roman Reigns. I think the deal here is that we got WrestleMania a little bit later than usual. It's April 19th and April 20th. That's about what, 8 weeks from now? That's a lot of time. And Elimination Chamber, that's when things will really start to pick up, when we get the world title matches established and they start the main storylines for WrestleMania. Basically, right now, we're just in a holding pattern, I think. They did the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches, and that's the storyline. We're just having matches leading up to a pay-per-view. It's exciting if you like the matches, but if you want some drama and some soap opera stuff, that's not really delivering on that front. And with WrestleMania, I think we all like the big, heavy angles that they do. Not just The Rock attacking Cody Rhodes in the parking lot from last year, but you think back years ago when Randy Orton was feuding with Triple H, and Triple H broke into his home, and then Randy Orton ended up taking out Stephanie McMahon, to set up WrestleMania. Those are the cool WrestleMania storylines that we like to watch in the weeks leading up to it. And so far we haven't gotten it. When are we going to get it? I think we are going to get it, but probably not until after Elimination Chamber. So right now it's just kind of, okay, we got a couple weeks before Elimination Chamber. We just have to throw out some matches, let these guys wrestle. We'll have Jey Uso do a pull-apart brawl with Gunther, and that's it. There's not too much to get all excited about, but I do think it will pick up once we get into the last month or so before WrestleMania, and hopefully Cena will do more.
Aaron, I almost forgot. Well, they're putting the effort in with this feud with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This is kind of a Raw angle, right? Not SmackDown. I'm not getting confused here.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be in Toronto. They're from Canada. Well, okay. But seriously, that's really the only compelling thing to a degree, but we've all seen that coming from a mile away. So, I'm sure there'll be people out there. Well, but Owens and Zayn are really putting on a feud like you talk about. Yeah, but even them, it's kind of one and done. They don't even thread Zayn hunting down Owens in the parking lot. I mean, I know, and it's because I'm an Attitude Era fan, how Russo wrote things and how WWE did kind of continue that kind of stuff through the Ruthless Aggression era. Why do you not have to do it? Why is it just, we got to get everybody in there 10 to 15 minute segments and one and done, on to the next. It's unacceptable to me, especially when you have big stars out. You're waiting for them to come in. Dude, they better, once Elimination Chamber is over with and these shows leading into WrestleMania, they better hit it hot and heavy. Like I know I'm not expecting all the stars on every show, but they better make up for this dull period, because to me it's just unacceptable what we had last year. And let's pace yourself. Let's give a little bit. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But you still can make the people that you do have on the shows feel even more important. Like, put a little more effort into Owens and Zayn. Make it even more meaningful. Gunther and Jay, right? And I know that Gunther and Jay is technically not till WrestleMania. Well, if you had him win the Royal Rumble, put the time and effort into it. This guy, quickly, please.
Yeah. So in addition to the two things I said earlier, the other issue I have is Netflix. Steve-O brought this up, buffering. I think it's like every other week have really bad buffering issues. So that's another thing. And then this is a whole company-wide thing. The mid-card division is just really like pointless because they don't book it properly.
We don't care about any of them.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? We got to care. Like, they're trying to a point with Owens and Zayn, right? But seriously, like, you can do so much more. All right, back to you, Aaron, and your partner in crime.
Anything Gino wanted to add? And then
Gino?
Yeah, just a point to both shows. I keep going back to the idea that Triple H said, I think it was last year, we have the destination in mind, and we'll just figure out the road as we go along. It feels exactly like that. I'm not a TV writer, but it feels like they're just picking.
Dude, I want The Rock there to F things up for them, so they have to try something.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it this way. WrestleMania is like the Rocky Mountains, and right now we're smack dab in the middle of Kansas. So you just got to look out. As you get closer, you'll start to see those mountain peaks in the distance, and we'll hit it. I know people are like, well, what if they don't hit it? They will.
Dude, this is going to turn into Dumb and Dumber, where they get the bike and they start going back the other way.
Good point.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. All right, let's get to the super chats from Psycho Jet Black. All right, so Psycho Jet Black says, do you think WWE is afraid of overexposing Jey Uso? I think so. Like, that could be the case for anybody. But I think, you don't want people to turn on him before WrestleMania. So you got to be careful what you do with him. Maybe that's why they're not putting him in multiple segments. I don't know. JJ, what are your thoughts?
I don't think so, because if they were so afraid of overexposing him, they wouldn't let him redo his music and have a 15-minute opening every time.
Yeah. But if they do that
100%,
every single week
encore.
now, between now and WrestleMania, that might get a little old.
It's like you either do that or you feature him 3 times on the show. You can't have both.
And let a heel be a heel. Let Raw open once with Gunther coming out, and then he overdoes. He hit my music again, and he stands there and poses and sucks it up like a heel, making fun of Jay doing his time. Like, let a heel be a heel and let Gunther do that. Now, of course, then you might get over with the marks because they like that kind of stuff, hearing an entrance over and over again and pandering to them. So I don't know, but just something. So I want the champion more prominent on the show, not just, he has a title, it's the world title, and I don't know. Aaron,
you got to build the show around him. He should be the focal point
and
of
I'm
the
fine
television
with that.
show.
Yeah, Gunther. Like, I want to see more Gunther. That's really what this is turning into, right? Yeah. From now until the bigger stars are back, make Gunther a bigger star so he can eventually one day be that type of guy, like a Roman Reigns that you want to see.
Yeah. At least Cody seems to be on multiple segments every week. They
sucking it up, always there every week.
But then again, he's the real world champion. Gunther's, basically the secondary world champion, and then Jey Uso picks the secondary champion. We talked about that last week. So
all right, Aaron, hit up the super chat soon, and then we can move to SmackDown here soon.
All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in $2, says Triple H will always have his favorites, and I know this is not a typo because they're not near each other on the keypad, Finn Balor. I get it. Finn Balor, always taking the pins. Finn Balor's just a good hand. They got him around because they know he can deliver good matches. But I like Finn Balor. I just am bored with the Judgment Day storyline. That's something I really think they need to to do something with and shake things up with that. You know, it feels like it's not evolving much, like they're moving at a snail's pace with it. So that's my take on that. And Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Shout out to Hamp, and maybe we'll have Hamp on the No DQ review one of these days. Hamp says, if Kevin Owens did that to Steve Austin or Triple H in 99 or 2000, upon their return, the whole episode would have been them searching the arena for him. It's sad nowadays. Yeah, very true. Like if you remember when Steve Austin came back for Backlash in 2000, when it was The Rock versus Triple H, like Austin was coming to the arena and they were trying to find him throughout the entire show. And I miss those episodes where like the whole show was built around one storyline, you know, the main storyline, and it keeps you invested for the entire show because throughout it we're seeing things progress and it leads up to something at the end. So you watch the beginning and you stick with it all the way to the very end. I definitely miss that stuff for sure. Anybody else have an opinion on that? Agree, disagree? I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that one.
Take your main story
you,
and you take your main story, like Vince Russo said, beginning, middle, and end. Whether that right now is Sammy and Owens or Gunther and Jay. And you don't have to like eat up a lot of TV time. You can keep the middle segment short, but just keep that hook going. Just makes people like see whatever happens at the beginning, and then something, you know, looking for him backstage. It's just missing. Like they are missing that. They just want to do matches. It's all about long match time. And look at what's happening to the ratings and the rankings on Netflix. No stars, longer matches. Woo!
Yeah, I mean they'll get it back up, I'm thinking. But you know, it's hard to tell what those numbers are really like because we don't actually get the access to them. We just go by those rankings. So we get a kind of a general idea of what they're doing, but it's not like the old days. I mean, it ultimately doesn't matter. I think WWE is happy with the numbers. I think Netflix is happy. But anyways, they obviously want those numbers to go up, so we'll see what they can do for WrestleMania and if they can get some buzz going. But anyways, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. And here we go. Would you care about John Cena if he was on a 72-inch AI UHD television? Also, how do you re-debut Rusev and Aleister Black, main roster or NXT? Why would they go to NXT? They were on the main roster for years. That would be a terrible idea to put them in NXT. JJ?
As someone who watches NXT, I would put Rusev down there because their men's division is struggling for stars and names right now.
They're not supposed to have stars.
Aleister Black I would put on the main roster. When I say stars, I mean just their men's roster, the heavyweight title picture in general is lacking in comparison to the women. The women is so stacked right now. The men's division, you've got like Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Obafemi, and yeah, that's about it. You're struggling with anybody else. So you put Rusev there, you can have some decent stuff with him.
Push Ricky Starks now. Make another star from an AEW,
granted, but
Rumble.
100%.
He hasn't even signed his contract yet. He won't sign it for another 30 minutes at least, you know, so just throwing that. And Aaron doesn't cover it, so.
But we talk about it.
I'm just saying Rusev would be good down there because it's another person in the heavyweight division to kind of fuel storylines with. Sean Spears, Ethan Page, these guys all came from over there. I think Aleister Black is set for the main roster, though.
Yeah, I would expect him on SmackDown probably sometime in the near future. And I think Rusev will end up on Raw. I think he's going to feud with some of those other heavy hitters like Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, so on and so forth. But I think they'll both be doing pretty well when they come back. And Psycho Jet Black sent in another $5 super chat. He says, seriously, what's going on with the Wyatt Six? It's like they realized they didn't have any plan for them for WrestleMania. Is it Alexa Bliss versus Uncle Howdy? Your guess is as good as mine, man. I mean, what are they going to do with those guys? I don't even know if they know. They're probably trying to figure that out right now. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, what would be a good angle? Gino?
Well, I just want to touch on that. Like, it felt like the time to capitalize on the Wyatt sixes were when the Bray Wyatt documentary aired, and we were all like behind Bo Dallas and really like feeling the emotion behind that. They waited like 3 months after that to even like do anything with them, and then they relegated to obscurity. It's like they're almost like an afterthought that they're only keeping around to honor Bray's memory, but it's like you're almost crapping on his legacy by not utilizing them in any capacity. Like they would have been great on either of the shows, and we're just not getting them. It's crazy.
Yeah, JJ, anything you want to add?
I think they were looking to try to set up something with them in the Final Testament, and then they released AOP. So now the Final Testament is down to just being Karrion Kross. So, and then they had split them up, moved the Wyatt Six to SmackDown, left Final Testament on Raw. Why they didn't pull that trigger at Survivor Series when an elimination match would have worked, I don't know. But I think they were really trying to culminate with something between those two factions at Mania. And now it just, without AOP, it's pointless. They got to figure out some other faction. Maybe Legado del Fantasma is someone they can target so that they can do some kind of multi-person thing. But does anybody care about Legado del Fantasma?
Nope.
I kind of do.
I like them, but I'm just saying for the general fan.
Right, probably not. I like their music. I like what they're doing with Los Garza. They're actually starting the Humberto and Angel. I actually know them. Meanwhile, on Raw, we got LWO coming out. Can't tell you who's who except for Dragon Lee because he's got the mask on. So I would choose Legado over LWO at this point if I would like choose one to keep. So,
and I'm not so sure about Aleister Black going straight to SmackDown. I know that's the popular decision with Zelina Vega being there, but with Chad Gable searching for assistance in the dark arts of Lucha Libre and Black's school being called the Dark Arts, I think he's going to go to Raw for that storyline first, and then maybe with the draft he can move over.
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. Maybe he can go over to Raw and then move back to SmackDown. I could see that as a possibility. All right, Virtue is back, so I guess Virtue, we got this guy threw in this $2 super chat, so thanks this guy, and I guess this could be our little transition here. So does Triple H need some help writing? U.S. IC title, pointless. And there's some news. There was a little bit of news over the weekend that Road Dogg, Brian James, is writing for SmackDown again. Virtue, I'll throw it over to you now.
All right, so now we'll talk about the state of SmackDown since it's been on USA Network. And I know that was a little bit, back into last year, and it's 3 hours for now. And again, that Cody's your guy, so Cody's heavily featured on it. And it's just like, it's like the Cody Rhodes whatever infomercial, and it's so long like Raw was, and Aaron's really knocked it down. What would you say? Was it lower than Dynamite to you now? Or
yes,
about the same.
Close, practically the same.
Road Dogg, right? He's been there in the Attitude Era, but he's had some time as a writer, and Tito wrote an article about what he thinks about it. I don't really know. I mean, Shawn Michaels is doing his thing in NXT. Is DX going to be doing all of creative? Bring in Sean Waltman and have him do something too. I don't care who the writer is. It better be somebody that's good and can actually make compelling, set up feuds and not just have two people fight because they want to fight, and actually put a storyline together where there's a beginning, middle, and end. You don't have to do that with everything, but at least your main stories. And like right now, I'm disinterested in Cody. We don't even know his opponent yet, and it's rumored to be John Cena. That's where they really need to make things interesting. And with Punk being on Raw, I'm kind of worried that they could just have Cena win it, and Cena's going to be on SmackDown a lot, which is weird because you think Cena would be on Netflix a bit. Are they going to have Cody show up to Raw?
So here's why some people think Cena might actually lose.
Mm-hmm.
He's being advertised for 3 episodes of Monday Night Raw in March as part of that European tour. So why would he keep appearing on SmackDown if he's feuding with Cody for the world title or facing Cody at WrestleMania?
But here's the thing. Then if Cody's on SmackDown, does he just start showing up on Raw because the general managers agreed to it? Punk is also on Raw, right? So
Yeah.
who are you gonna? Is it gonna be Roman? But he's not in the match, so they got to fix some things here. So yeah. Anyway, state of SmackDown. JJ, I'll start with you on this one.
SmackDown. I think Matthew's got a solid point here in the chat. You know, Matthew's pointing out that SmackDown is struggling now that it's 3 hours. And the sad thing when it comes to WWE in general, and this goes for both Raw and SmackDown, they shouldn't be struggling when it comes to 3 hours. They've got way too much talent that they could be featuring for them to be struggling for segments and matches. Not every match needs to be a 25-minute match. Not every match needs to be a 3-minute squash. You can have freaking diversity here within the matches on the show. We've got an Intercontinental and a United States Championship division for both the men and the women that is seriously struggling to find contenders. Why? Almost 90% of the women on the rosters seem like they belong in one of those divisions as opposed to the world title picture anyway. So why are we struggling with contenders? Why are we unable to fill some of that time with matches with Chelsea and Lyra defending those titles to help boost the visibility and the importance of those titles? SmackDown has always been a 2-hour brand, and it seems more and more each week that it's proving that it should be a 2-hour brand. The tag division is god-awful. The mid-card division is god-awful. And without Roman Reigns or some other star to keep Cody interesting, Cody has had a lackluster reign. I like Cody. I'm glad Cody finished his story, but here we are almost a year later, and I'm still wishing we had Roman versus The Rock instead of the Cody crybabies getting their way.
Dude, and Cody could quickly turn into when people hated Roman and Cena as the company guy that's just forced to win and forced to keep the title and forced to kiss the babies. And, well, that's good for us because then we'll turn them heel. Like, they got to be careful, though. They could overexpose even Cody Rhodes. Because the crybabies, they'll turn on anything for a new flavor of the month for sure if they had the opportunity. All right, you good, JJ? I mean,
for now, yeah. I mean, I'll raise my hand if I need to. You know me.
3 hours of SmackDown. All right, Gino.
All right. So the most
wait. What
one thing I love.
What are you, Jacob Fatu?
That's what I was going to say.
Oh,
he is must-see television for me.
I thought you were doing that to me. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, props are due. But Jacob Fatu is easily the most interesting thing on SmackDown. And it just kind of speaks to the Roman Reigns influence, right? I'm still invested in the bloodline, what they got with Solo. Jacob Fatu's getting cheered and chanted. Like, people want to see more Jacob Fatu. And I just think that what they're doing with him and by extension, Tama Tonga with his little psychotic little like, I think that's entertaining. That makes me laugh. That makes me happy to be watching wrestling. Aaron said it really well in his review. I mean, they had 2 commercial breaks in the Tiffany and Nia match, and they ended with a NoDQ. Like, they're stretching what they've got written to just fill more time slots instead of writing compelling stuff to go along with that. The tag division, they're throwing a bunch of people out there. I don't really care about any of them, to be honest, not even the champions. The women's division, I still think, is pretty elevated, at least on SmackDown and on NXT. But it is so clearly missing Roman Reigns, the WWE as a whole. I think that SmackDown would be elevated if Roman Reigns was appearing on Raw. I still think SmackDown would get better viewership. We're missing him. And he put in all that work for 4 years, and we don't know how long we can get him. He's got remission for leukemia. And if that ever comes back, we're not going to get Roman. So I want him as much as possible while he's healthy. So maybe that's selfish of me. But the crowd's continuing to chant OTC, even though they know they're not getting him. They're buying tickets. I mean, if you go to pull up the USA Network on YouTube TV, Roman Reigns is the big face on the one sheet for SmackDown. Like,
on the video
I don't
game.
know. And especially the video game.
I hope they spam him after Elimination Chamber. Like, you know what I mean? If it, like I said, I told Aaron, everybody earlier, if they go hot and heavy with their stars post March 1st, okay, I'll forget this stretch fairly quickly. But man, I mean, we still got a couple of weeks, and
right.
Who knows?
And to speak to the Road Dogg
who knows
thing.
what the limited dates are too, right? They're going
Right.
to stretch Cena's dates and Reigns' dates, and
So if Cena's going to have 35 dates, he's only had one, and it's more than a month in, right? So we've got to get those dates somewhere. Obviously, he's going to have 3 in the European. But I wanted to address the Road Dogg situation. There was
Please
a
do.
tweet that
Tito's
AJ Styles
listening.
replied to.
Tito's listening. Please do.
Okay, perfect. You know, nothing against Mr. Tito. I actually didn't read your article, but I will right after the review's over, and I suggest everybody else do the same. But as far as Road Dogg goes, there was a tweet that AJ Styles replied to that was basically like saying, "Oh, we're cooked because Road Dogg is going to be running, SmackDown Creative." And AJ Styles replied essentially, when Road Dogg was working for Creative, he essentially said Vince McMahon butchered his entire everything he wrote to where it was unrecognizable. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't that why he stepped down from Creative in the first place? So I would love to see Road Dogg have a chance to do what he wants as creatively without having it butchered. You know, if you had asked me 10 years ago, you think Shawn Michaels would be a good creative guy? I'd be like, I don't think the guy has much going on in between his ears. And now look at him. Now look at NXT. It's like, let's give the guy a chance before we shred all over him for his past in a different environment. And the one thing Triple H is doing great is creating and fostering an environment that people actually want to work for and work in. And so is he doing the best creative right now? But it's an environment that people are happy to be in. Nobody's sour eggs. Nobody's talking about wanting to go to AEW. Like, that was all the rage back in the, 2019, 2020. It was like, everybody's going to jump ship that way. Now it's like everybody's jumping ship this way.
So let's go backwards. Let's go to like the mid 90s when Vince McMahon was putting together terrible television and everybody was jumping to WCW. Mm-hmm. He let him go and it imploded. And and then Vince knew something needed to change, and he let a writer influence him of a magazine, and it took off. Do you think Vince, look what happened with AEW? People got unhappy with it. I'm not saying he plotted this by ripping up scripts and making wrestlers unhappy, but the disgruntled people went to AEW. How did that turn out? Just look at the current state of wrestling. Let him go. Vince doesn't care. That's the thing. A guy that turns his dad's $1 million company into what WWE has become, he's never going to change his method until he's gone. And that's what we're seeing now. So people that knock Vince for getting old and stale, he got outdated. There's no doubt about that. But he's still a legend for what he did. And Triple H is in this position now with TKO because of Vince McMahon. So I just want to throw that out there. Vince gets a lot of hate with the script writing and the out of touch, but he was an old man at that point. Mm-hmm. Got to give him a little bit of slack, Gino. I just want to throw that in.
I actually do have a reverence for Vince McMahon for what he did, and and a lot of the stuff that he did do was brilliant. He'd say, no, you can't have the contract hanging from a piece of paper. You need to put it in a briefcase. He's still a brilliant genius. And you can never take that away from him, no matter what he does in his personal life, honestly.
All right. Who wants to go next? This guy, did I go to you on this one?
No, not yet.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to pick back from where you left off. Yes, Vince, incredible mind, incredible genius when it comes to wrestling. The way it ended, it kind of sucked that he got booted out of his company because of the outside stuff. But I mean, ultimately, I would say back in the 90s, back when I was first watching to now, even taking some breaks off, it was incredible. Now they have their low points and high points, which is great. And SmackDown specifically, it's at a low point because, I agree with everybody else. It's too long, 3 hours. I'm used to 2 hour SmackDowns. And going back to what I said originally, I don't have cable to watch SmackDown live. So again, I use Aaron's channel to stay up on SmackDown content. And again, watch the clips. So unfortunately, being with this 3 hours, and then they say it was only temporary. Like, how long is the 3 hours supposed to be going for?
June.
June. I don't know what they're gonna do. The only other issue I have, besides like again, witnessing it vicariously through Aaron and YouTube clips, is the fact that the mid card title. I said this previously on the Raw section of it. The mid card titles, which usually again the cream rises to the top, right? So we have so many previous mid carders in the past that became big stars: The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H. I can just name all of them. You don't have a good mid card game right now on either brand, especially SmackDown. And it's just really annoying that they keep introducing more and more titles, and these titles become paperweights basically by week 4 that they've existed. And again, I'm going to keep saying this. I said this to you, Aaron, months ago when they first was introducing the U.S. title, the women's U.S. title, and then switch that the women's IC championship, and then the U.S. IC, the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. And
Titles that nobody cares about.
I can't even say them because it's irrelevant.
They all blend together.
Unfortunately, literally because they basically are copy and paste versions of each other. The SmackDown titles, tag titles, just as good as the Raw titles, but ultimately, your mid card game is just really poor. And I mean, if SmackDown, the only thing I could say is if SmackDown after WrestleMania happens, if they want to bring up some talent to SmackDown to fill that void that they just opened up last week, I'm all for it as long as you book them correctly. Just give. I would say a suggestion if they can just get like a small team to book each hour, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm not a writer person, but like I said in the comment earlier, can the final boss bring in somebody from Hollywood, a couple writers to help write these shows, especially SmackDown, the house that he built back in the day? That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, and sorry for my camera cutting in and out. Big G emailed me and I opened it up and now I think I got a virus, the same virus that was on his computer. So I'll probably have to clean up all my files and stuff after the show, but it's Big G's fault. All right, Aaron, I'm going to come over to you now and Psycho Jet Black and the rest of the NoDQ Galaxy.
Well, as far as Road Dogg goes, I know people are saying that we should give him a chance, and we should give him the benefit of the doubt. People are saying, well, he was being micromanaged by Vince McMahon, but 2016 SmackDown was great. SmackDown in early 2017 was great. Right after Road Dogg took over, all of a sudden it wasn't so good. I don't know, man. What about all the other writers on Raw and SmackDown afterwards? Like, wasn't everybody micromanaged by Vince McMahon? I mean, certain eras were better than others. So I'm a little suspicious of that. It almost feels like an excuse to me, but we'll see. If the shows get really good all of a sudden, then Road Dogg is a better writer than we gave him credit for. But I have a feeling like we are going to see more 50-50 booking. Road Dogg himself has made it clear that wins and losses don't matter in wrestling. So if that's your thing, where guys are just out there trading wins every week, that'll be Road Dogg. That'll be his claim to fame, his legacy as a writer. I don't know. We'll see. I think they need some new, fresh faces writing. I don't think going back to the same old guys is the way to go. Like I wouldn't want Vince Russo coming back because I think you need new people. You need 20, 30-year-olds that can bring in a whole new perspective and have some fresh ideas to change things up and give us something that we haven't seen before. And SmackDown, it's just too long. 3 hours is too much. They're basically treating it like the B show now. It's no longer the A show now that Raw has moved to Netflix and SmackDown's on USA. And that hurt. And maybe once we get into WrestleMania season, and people are saying like WWE should be exciting year round. It shouldn't just be WrestleMania season. And I get that, but at the same time, you don't want to, dare I say, blow your load all the time. You want to save it for the right times, and you don't want to do too much every single week because then things lose their impact.
True, but you are also the one that says strike while the iron is hot.
Yes. Yeah,
I mean,
and
what iron is hot right now, though?
well, I mean, Jey Uso, you could
It would have
say
been The
is hot.
Rock. It would have been The Rock, but he
Yeah.
decided not to.
Gino?
Yeah. What you just said kind of triggered a thought in my head. I feel like sometimes we have, I don't know, no other TV show on the planet has to do 52 weeks of storytelling a year. And I know I'm guilty of it. I don't give WWE enough credit for having 3, 4, 6, 10 hours of content written every week. I mean, that's got to be difficult, but like, this is WrestleMania season. It should be hot, firing on all cylinders. They're going to sell out every building. The crowd's there to eat along with people. The crowd's there to boo Logan Paul and Dominic out of the building and the New Day out of the building. Like, it shouldn't just be fun for the people that are there, though, right? The people that are watching every week, there should be some level of enjoyment for us, too, each week.
One more thing I wanted to say about Road Dogg. Anytime somebody would criticize something that he wrote, he would always just go on the defensive. He'd be like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Just
Publicly
enjoy wrestling.
Interacting with marks like AJ Styles did, and that blows my mind. Unless you're at an autograph signing, I cannot stand when you see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar and guys like that interacting with marks when it comes to anything like that. No. Not like that.
Just ignore it. Either say thank you for your feedback, we'll take it into consideration, or don't respond at all. When you get all defensive like that, it sounds like you can't handle any criticism, and I don't think that's a good thing. So I kind of agree with Tito. Like I'm not high on the Road Dogg. He might be high, but that's a whole different thing. We'll see. Maybe he was micromanaged by Vince. Wasn't an excuse. We'll find out. Next couple months, we'll see if there's any changes with the show whatsoever. Time will tell.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong.
JJ?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback real quick on what Aaron said about, having to keep things interesting all year long. I know he's not really a big pro sports fan, neither am I, but it's like, you think about professional sports, and week 1 of the NFL is nowhere near as exciting as week 10 of the NFL. April baseball is nowhere near as exciting as September baseball. August baseball, and we're getting closer to the championship series. It goes for all sports. So I don't really fault WWE for having their stale periods. It just comes with the territory when you're trying to do 52 weeks a year.
But while you have those, you have stars you could make a bigger deal and make us care for them more, like Jey Uso, like Gunther.
Agreed.
And again, Zayn and Owens are trying that, but you could even do it more.
Agreed. And what I'd really like to see from Road Dogg, I'm going to go in this with an open mind, because when he was the head writer of SmackDown was during my hiatus, so I didn't watch his stuff. But what I'd really like to see, considering that Road Dogg is best known as being a tag team guy, is I'd like to see him focus on the tag division. If anybody can help elevate the tag teams and make them entertaining and make them must-see TV, it's a guy who made a career as a tag team wrestler.
All right. Aaron?
All right. Shout out to Daryl, who sent in a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. Says, any WWE/World title defense at Elimination Chamber, or are the champions going straight to WrestleMania? WWE should hire TJS to write for SmackDown. Ratings will be high. TJS. Is this TJS's burner?
Yeah, a burner account. What country is ZAR? Is that like
that's South African Rand is ZAR. It's $1.90 American.
He has a South African burner account. Crazy.
No,
VPN
seriously though,
status.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that Rhea Ripley is going to WrestleMania as champion. And then Cody's going to be champion. I think, and that's the other thing too. It's like, now we know there's probably not going to be any title changes until WrestleMania. Like, in Vince Russo's defense, like, that 98, 99 period, like the title could change hands before WrestleMania. It kept you on the edge of your seat. Like, just every once in a while, I'd like to see a major title change on a Raw or SmackDown, just so it could happen. But you're conditioned now to believe it's never going to happen. The titles don't change hands. They're already set. Cody Rhodes is defending at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley's defending at WrestleMania. So it's like, why even watch the weekly shows? Just, you got to sit and wait until WrestleMania. And like, that needs to change. We need to think Cody could lose next week. And WrestleMania, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, that, I think, is what is sorely needed from both WWE and AEW for that point. It's like, the whole thing with John Moxley, a month ago, I'm like, well, he's going to have the title until Revolution at the earliest. So it's like, why do I even care about these weekly shows? He's coming out there and rambling every week. I just want to see the match already, and let's move on and do something different. This guy.
Quick question / comment. How long has Triple H been like head writer of the entire company? Has it been a full year, or is it like a year and a half now?
It's June of 2022 or July of 2022.
Okay. Oh, well, even longer. All right. So that being said, do you think he still kind of have?
Who's playing Atari?
That's my daughter. It's a Pokemon little game. Anyway, do you believe that Triple H may be kind of playing it safe to like keep, I guess, Nick Khan off his back and like TKO now? Like back then, it would be like Vince and not Tony Khan, but the other Khan. But do you believe that he's trying to toe the lines to like keep his position, or like, because if you kind of deviate too far and try to make things unpredictable, like, hey, how can we like go based on the fans, go with money and everything like that? That's the only thing
I think Triple H just goes by what their numbers are, and they put 70,000 people in the Lucas Oil Stadium for the Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania they got almost 50,000 tickets for each night, and Mr. Tito's saying that's lackluster, but with the ticket prices, like, they're breaking records. And I think as long as those numbers are good and the fans are vocal and the majority of their casual fan base is happy, I think they're going to stick to what they're doing and not change it up. Maybe that's a negative about AEW struggling. When AEW is not doing good, WWE can coast a little bit. Their backs aren't against the wall as much like it was a few years ago.
Someone said that earlier in the chat comment section.
Yeah, I think AEW doing bad is bad for wrestling as a whole, because now WWE, they don't have to worry about losing their guys. Now all the guys like Ricky Starks want to come to WWE now, so it's like they don't have to worry about their guys jumping ship and going to AEW. Like, everybody wants to work in WWE right now. JJ?
I was just thinking of something randomly while we were having this discourse. Do you think fans would have bitched about the 3-hour SmackDown if it had been 3 hours during the height of the Bloodline angle?
Maybe.
Because that's when SmackDown was at its hottest. That would have just been more time to feature Roman Reigns
Keep in
and
mind,
the rest of the Bloodline.
The Bloodline was, for a couple of those years, was the highlight of the show by a large margin, and you add a third hour. Then, we were talking about overexposure earlier. Like, there is a point where you can overexpose them and have them around too much. 2 hours is just like the sweet spot, as far as I'm concerned. You don't risk over exposing people, and the matches don't go too long. Like, you have to move at a faster pace, and it just makes the shows more interesting to watch.
See, the long title reign by Roman Reigns was captivating. Who was finally going to beat him? Bloodline was growing. They threw the Sami Zayn stuff in there. Cody's title reign is now approaching 1 year, and it's like, hopefully Cena wins his 17th again. Like, you know what I mean? There's just no, unless CM Punk is the guy getting his spot at WrestleMania, I just don't know. Just that interest of Cody being the guy at WrestleMania is without the crutch of Roman, Rock, or Punk. It's just, I don't like the way this is heading. I just don't like the way this is heading. What I was saying offline too, before we started, Roman Reigns is going to be feuding potentially against Seth Rollins because he got curb stomped on the stairs. Like, why? What? Like, that's just nuts to me. Like, in Punk, what's his favor? like if Punk doesn't end up in the main event of WrestleMania, like that's going to be crazy too, because why even introduce anything that could make fans speculate Punk has an out, something that Heyman could get for Punk at a future date. So these show, and I'm not seeing any of these people I'm talking about other than Cody on Raw or SmackDown lately. Crazy. Aaron, back to you in the Super Chats.
All right, we got one more here from Hamp. Shout out to Hamp, who sent in $2. Hamp says, prediction, Triple H and Stephanie are gone by 2026. Well, Stephanie's not there. She's not working for the company right now.
So he's half right.
Yeah, there you go. Triple H, I don't see going anywhere. I think he'll be there as long as he wants to be. You know, I mean, he could be fired, but I think it's highly unlikely in all likelihood that he goes anywhere.
Well, I mean, if he's the one that put Road Dogg in that position and SmackDown tanks, it's not good on him.
Yeah, I don't think Triple H is going anywhere. And
you don't think Vince McMahon was going anywhere either. All it takes is something that you will never think.
I mean, I felt like certain Vince was not going anywhere. Triple H, I feel like 75% chance he's not going anywhere. Vince, I was like 99% chance he wasn't.
Until he died.
Vince was going to die in Gorilla. That's what
That was my prediction. I thought he was going to die
or still be like on the board of directors with the company in a nursing home, but still technically have that. Yeah, and he's done. He's gone. Yeah. So
that sounds like
anybody can be out of a company if Vince McMahon's no longer in WWE. That's how you have to look at it.
That is true.
But Triple H, right, probably isn't on that radar, but never say never.
Yeah, I mean, if business takes a nosedive, you never know. Derek W. sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Derek. Says, can you see NXT being a legit third brand to Raw and SmackDown and WWE Evolve being the new developmental?
People talked about that 5 years ago, Aaron, and it's still the developmental. It's
always going to be. It's always going to be the developmental. Evolve is NXT's developmental. Let's be real here. It's too much TV. I mean, I know, JJ, you might want to watch every show. Noah might watch every show. But, man, I cannot dedicate more than like 5 hours a week to wrestling, or I will legitimately lose my mind. My life needs to be balanced. I can't have any one of anything in my life other than my wife. That's it. Beyond that.
No. In all fairness, I don't have to watch every show, but I do tune into each episode of NXT as I feel that's the highlight of the week. I can see NXT being a legit third brand, but maybe that's just me and my investment in the product. I do think Evolve being the new developmental because essentially the WWE ID talents are out there trying to get exposure so that they can be on Evolve. So it's like the next step.
All right. Well, I'm not going to be watching Evolve, but if you watch it, more power to you. Psycho Jet.
Got to check out a couple episodes, Aaron, so you know what it's going to be like.
I guess out of curiosity, I should for so-called journalistic purposes.
I mean, now if we get a WWE Evolve PLE, that'll be a whole other story.
Yeah, well, that's all we need is more pay-per-views now. We got.
I don't know if you can call that a premium live event, more like a standard live event.
WWE ID now has championships. Like now we have like 20 titles in WWE, 20 titles in AEW. Like what the hell, man? Jeez.
Speaking of AEW, where's Shane? Still waiting for Shane to show up. What's he doing?
He was with Vince at the Super Bowl.
Nah, that ain't happening. Shane's not going to AEW. All right.
If he was going to do it, he would have done it already.
By the way, who does this, JJ?
Big Show?
Tugboat?
Never mind. No, the guy that does this showed up on TNA, or not TNA, NXT.
Oh, you talking about Ricky Starks?
No, he goes like boom, like that. Like Moose.
Oh, Moose.
Oh.
Isn't that what he does?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't watch TNA as much as I should. Like I said, I don't watch everything.
All right, now people are trolling in the comments. So let's get to these last super chats. Psycho Jet Black says with a $2 super chat prediction: Shane McMahon will be in the Hall of Fame in 2026. Maybe
Stephanie will be first.
Yeah, I could see Stephanie going in first. You know, Shane's kind of like not not in tight with them right now, even though Shane and Stephanie were with Linda McMahon for her Senate confirmation a few days ago. Yeah, Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon. I think they'll go in now that Triple H is going in. I think that'll open the door for the others to go in. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says prediction: JJ will finally watch his UHD TV in 2025. Can we confirm or deny that?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to come to Saturday Shenanigans and super chat to find out.
All right, there you go, Psycho Jet Black. You know your task now. You know what you got to do. Psycho Jet Black also sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says prediction: Rift Aronson will be a WWE ID champion. I think, I think Chris Benoit has a better chance of being the WWE ID champion than that happening.
The NoDQ super chat champion was more excited than any of these new championships.
Yes, bring that back. Bring that back. That was so much fun.
It's not tonight.
Yeah, not tonight. All right, we're caught up. Shout out to Big G. Big G could not make it for the majority of this. His internet crapped out on him. He may never be back again. I don't know if he's just so upset about Jeff Jarrett and he's saying his internet's not working. You know, Jeff Jarrett, they dropped his storyline. You know, that was Jeff Jarrett was going to be like John Cena, and now that's done. And maybe Big G just lost his whatever passion he had left for AEW. It's completely gone, and he's just distraught. But follow him. There's his social medias. Follow Big G, and hopefully he'll be ready. He'll be back. His internet will be working again, and we miss you, Big G. All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Of course he did. Says prediction: it will be Big Boom AJ versus Stephen Flo. I'm surprised Stephen Flo hasn't debuted on Dynamite yet. What are they waiting for on that one? He was great. All right, we're done, Virtue. We can go ahead and do our...
All right, last words, everybody. This guy, go ahead.
All right, Aaron, if you could pull up my my graphic thing. I don't really do that many plugs.
Trying to find it here.
Go
ahead. Oh,
you can skip me for now. Okay. So I'm not really a social media guy, but my wife, she crochets for a side hustle. So that's some of her premium plushies that she created. She also makes dresses, but not that often. Blankets. She's doing a whole bunch of blankets for this cold, chilly season, and some hats, which my hat is not in my office with me. But yeah, and that's pretty much it. I have my clone with me right now. And that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys, for having me on there again, as usual. Hopefully, in the near future.
All right, hey, no problem. Thank you. JJ, over to you now.
You can follow me and the rest of Simply Reliable Studios on YouTube, J Hebert Studios, myself, the Casa D18 Studios, Walter's Rage of Wrestling, and the Simple Man's brand. Got to get Rage of Wrestling up there, man. He's hovering just under 100 subscribers. The NoDQ Galaxy needs to get out there and support Walter and everything that he's trying to do. And he said that if he gets to 300 subscribers by the end of the year, him and his wife will do the Hot Ones Challenge. So let's show some love to Walter, man. He's an MVP of the NoDQ crew.
All right. Thank you, JJ. Gino.
As always, guys, thank you so much for having me. Honored to be here. This is awesome. Got some good topics going on. If you guys want to watch me bust some fools up in some Call of Duty, some Rocket League, I'll be on there, Papagino0017 after this review. Apparently some good stuff going on in NXT as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on over there. A pleasure to be here, guys, as always, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, Gino. All right, Aaron, over to you and Psycho.
All right, Psycho Jet Black says prediction: it will be this guy versus that guy. There you go. We got to bring that guy on the No DQ review one of these days. Maybe Hamp Connell can come on and be that guy, and we can have this guy versus that guy. There you go. We'll come up with something for that one of these days once we get Hamp Connell on. All right, we got some more here from Psycho Jet Black. We are officially in After Dark. Psycho Jet Black says prediction: Kendrick Lamar will sing at a WrestleMania. Can he sing?
I'd rather have Bad Bunny.
Well, Bad
He
Bunny, I
raps,
think, is
he's
more
not a
like
Because
singer.
he can
so-
work, he can wrestle. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I think he's probably not going to be able to come down to what they will pay. You know, he's probably going to want a hefty fee, and I don't know if they'll go for that. Although, don't they not make that much money for the Super Bowl? Like they only get paid like a small amount, and it's mainly to promote their
Yeah, but
music.
133 million people tuned in, so he's going to get extra revenue
Yeah,
from streams and blah. He's making killing probably
I mean-
because of that.
yeah. I mean, WWE will have a couple million watching WrestleMania, so he's going to want that big payday, I'm thinking. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, prediction, I will become an Atari World Champion. Maybe not Atari, but hey, Switch 2, they got some cool games coming out. Maybe I'll join some of those tournaments. Maybe when they put out the new Smash Brothers, I'll compete in a tournament and try to win a Smash Brothers World Championship. But definitely not Atari. That's not going to happen. Virtue, you still play Atari at all?
No, I mean they're like a publisher now. I don't play any of my old stuff. I like when old Atari games are implemented into new games. There's this Pac-Man game coming out later this year, and it looks real like it's not Pac-Man. It's like a dark gothic game, and Pac-Man's implemented into it somehow. I like that type of creativity.
Do they do Atari tournaments?
I probably for old school people, but like some of that stuff's really outdated.
And Gino, how do you get Piranha Plant in the Smash Brothers Ultimate?
He was the DLC. He was the first additional character after the roster, so he's like the first ever DLC. It's like $2 or whatever. I originally got him just because nobody knew his playstyle, and I was able to like overcome people's predictions of what I was going to do, but I started to get used to it.
I couldn't even find him. I bought those fighter passes, and I never got Piranha Plant.
Yeah, it's just a single character. It's not part of the fighter pass or anything like that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, we'll have to look into that because I want all of them.
Kirby will always be the most powerful fighter because the creator of Smash Brothers is a creator of Kirby, and people just don't use him because a lot of those, he's a little cartoon character type thing. But Kirby's always the strongest if you know how to use him in Smash Brothers.
Well,
done purposely by the creator. You have to know how to use it, though.
I like the stages where you can walk off the stage and you can just stay there, wait for a guy to come over, just throw him over and eliminate them real quickly. That's how I always do it. Anyways, we got a couple more super chats here. We somehow ended up on Smash Brothers talk. Derek sent in a $2 super chat, says, shout out to NoDQ. You guys are awesome. Appreciate that. One day we should do like a Smash Brothers, like the NoDQ people that have the game. We should do like a Smash Brothers stream or something like that. Might be a fun idea to change things up. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, prediction, Ryback will not return to WWE in 2025.
Pretty good.
That is a safe prediction. Good
He's
prediction.
feeling bold today.
Yeah, that's a really bold prediction right there. Yeah, Ryback's not coming back. Val Venus ain't coming back. I'm predicting that right now. No Val Venus in 2025. And Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat here, says, could Netflix opt out of Raw to buy more NFL?
I mean, they got that 5-year clause. So it's
anything's
there for
possible.
a reason.
Anything's possible.
Fox didn't renew him after a monster deal for 5 years, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell on that one, but I think for now they're happy with the numbers, and we'll see where things go. It's down right now, but I do think things will get better over the next couple weeks. Mr. Tito says he'd wreck us all in Smash Brothers. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do a Smash Brothers tournament and stream it with the NoDQ people on my personal channel. So make sure you follow me, youtube.com/AaronRift. I'll get some new content on there eventually. All right, Virtue, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
All right, follow me on x.com if you dare at NoDQ_Virtue. And there's never going to see that, am I? Anyway, that's all I got. I mean, go to NoDQ.com/merch. You can get the moderator shirt, the NoDQ review shirt, and all the great merchandise. But that is it for this week. Aaron, next week, what are we going to be on? Thursday?
Yeah, so next week we will be on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and I'll post some reminders next week. And next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing the predictions for Elimination Chamber. So stay tuned for that. Things will be a little bit a little bit crazy. The next week I'm going to be in California, so.
And Aaron asked to have the review Tuesday at 10, and I said, So that's why we're doing a Thursday, which is kind of, that's our old stomping grounds Thursday nights.
Yeah, so that'll work, and we'll do it at 10 o'clock. Do the predictions next Tuesday, and the Dynamite recap this week is going to be at 11 Eastern, just so people know. But I'll post reminders. Things will be a little off next week or so, but once we get, like I said, once we get to Elimination Chamber, things should get back to normal. All right, guys, that's it. Virtue,
that's
any
it.
final comments
for
here?
Aaron, this guy, JJ, Gino, Big G, Mr. Tito, Colin, and the whole NoDQ crew and galaxy. Good night, everybody. We'll see you again next Thursday night.
Peace.